Have you ever heard that saying, neither holy nor Roman nor an empire?
Yeah.
It's a pretty famous quote about the
Yeah.
Holy Roman Empire.
Right.
And today we are going to take a deep dive into that very empire. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a really interesting one to dig into.
So to help us out today, we've got some material
Yes.
from the Noble Blood podcast.
Yeah, a great series.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think we should just get right into it.
Okay, sounds good. So
So-
where should we begin?
Well, the story of the Holy Roman Empire
Okay.
really starts with a pretty dramatic event.
It does. It does. And it all starts
Yeah.
with a pope being attacked in
Yeah.
the streets of Rome.
So this is
Yeah.
back in 799 AD.
Okay.
Pope Leo III
Mhm.
is attacked during a religious procession.
Oh, wow.
And get this, his
Yeah.
attackers
Yeah.
actually try to cut at his tongue and blind him.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's brutal.
Brutal attack.
And
Yeah.
it really highlights, I think, just how volatile
Yeah,
the political climate was at the time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So miraculously, Pope Leo recovers and escapes,
Oh, wow.
and he flees to the court of Charlemagne,
Charlemagne, okay.
the king of the Franks. Now,
Yeah.
Charlemagne was already
Yeah.
a powerful figure,
Yeah, for sure.
but this alliance with the Pope
Oh, yeah.
really cemented his position
Absolutely.
as the defender of the faith.
Yeah, like no one is going to mess with the guy who is protecting the Pope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Charlemagne uses this position to his advantage.
Yeah, he does.
A few years later on Christmas Day,
Okay.
in the year 800,
Wow.
Charlemagne is kneeling in prayer at St. Peter's Basilica,
Okay.
and Pope Leo places a crown on his head
Oh, wow.
and proclaims him Emperor of the Romans.
So wait a second.
Yeah.
Wasn't there already a Roman emperor at that time?
Well, there was Empress Irene
Okay.
ruling the Byzantine Empire.
Okay, so there's like an emperor in the east and now we're going to have one in the west.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the Franks considered the Byzantine Empire to be illegitimate
Why is that?
because she was a woman.
Oh, wow. So they're saying a woman
Yeah.
can't be emperor.
They essentially argued that the title of Roman emperor was vacant.
Oh, so it's just open
Yeah.
for the taking.
It was a power vacuum.
Wow.
So Charlemagne steps in and declares himself emperor.
Bold move.
It was a bold move.
Yeah.
And this moment is often seen as the beginning of the Holy Roman Empire.
Okay, so this is where it all starts.
It's where it all starts.
Okay.
But it's important to remember
Mm-hmm.
that the title didn't become official for centuries.
Oh, wow. So he's calling himself
Yeah.
Emperor of the Romans, but it's not
Yeah.
really official yet.
Yeah, it's not officially recognized for a
Yeah.
very long time.
Okay.
And the empire itself went through many transformations.
Oh, so it's not like we just have like a straight line from this point all the way to
Right.
the end of the Holy Roman Empire.
Exactly.
It changes a lot over time.
It's not a simple story.
Okay.
So Charlemagne's coronation
Right.
was kind of this symbolic start,
Okay.
but not the full story.
Right.
And it begs the question,
Yeah.
did this new empire even include Rome?
Well, that's part of the contradiction, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
While the Holy Roman Empire did control Rome at times
Okay.
and drew heavily on Roman imagery,
Mm-hmm.
its center of power was actually located
Okay.
in what we now know as Germany.
So Roman geographically.
Not so Roman geographically.
Okay.
And what about the holy part?
Yeah.
Where the emperor is chosen by God or something?
Not quite.
Okay.
The holy designation really refers to the close relationship
Okay.
between the emperors and the church.
Got it.
They saw themselves as protectors of the faith,
Okay.
and their authority was often bolstered by a papal support.
So kind of a mutually beneficial relationship.
Exactly.
But this holy aspect is also part of the contradiction.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the emperors weren't exactly saints themselves.
Well, that's very true.
Right.
Their actions often contradicted their holy title.
Sure.
There were plenty of power struggles,
Uh-huh.
conflicts, and even wars within the empire.
Yeah.
Which brings us to another interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
How did this empire function
Yeah.
with all its internal divisions?
Yeah, good question.
Because if it wasn't a centralized Roman-style empire,
Right.
how did it manage to hold together for
Yeah.
so long?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
From what we've heard so far,
Yeah.
it sounds like a very fragile entity.
It was in many ways.
Yeah.
And to understand its longevity,
Okay.
we need to look at how power was distributed within the empire.
Got it.
Over time, powerful noble families known as the electors
Okay, the electors.
gained the right to choose the emperor.
So the emperor wasn't a hereditary position.
Not exactly. While there were dynasties like the Habsburgs,
Right.
who held the imperial title for long periods,
Okay.
it wasn't a guaranteed inheritance.
Okay.
The electors had the final say.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a really interesting system.
So it sounds like these electors were
Yeah.
incredibly powerful figures.
They were.
Yeah.
And as the power of the emperor waned,
Okay.
the influence of the electors grew.
Got it.
This shift in power dynamics
Yeah.
is crucial to understanding how the Holy Roman Empire evolved
Okay.
and ultimately how it met its end.
Okay. So we are going to have to talk about that more.
Yeah, we should definitely dig into that.
For sure. But for now,
Yeah.
that is all the time we have.
Okay. Sounds good.
So stay tuned, folks,
Okay.
and we will pick this up in part 2.
I'll be here.
Excellent.
See you then.
See you then.
Bye. Bye.
So before we were talking about these electors
Right.
and how they gained the right to choose the emperor. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about
Sure.
who these electors were and how this whole system worked?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The electors were some of the most powerful figures
Okay.
in the Holy Roman Empire.
Got it.
They controlled vast territories
Wow.
and commanded significant resources.
So they weren't just like figureheads.
No. They were
Yeah.
major players
Yeah.
in the empire's political landscape.
I see.
Yeah.
And how many were there?
Initially, there were 7 electors.
Okay.
Just 7.
These included powerful archbishops,
Okay.
dukes, and other high-ranking nobles.
So both religious and secular leaders.
Exactly.
Okay.
Over time, the number fluctuated.
Okay.
But these 7 remained the core group.
Got it.
Yeah.
So these 7 individuals,
Right.
or rather the families and institutions they represented,
Exactly.
had the power to decide who would be the emperor.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge responsibility.
It was.
So-
And it wasn't just a matter of casting a vote. The elections were complex affairs,
Okay.
often involving negotiations,
Oh, wow.
alliances,
I bet.
and even backroom deals.
It sounds like a lot more than just showing up and raising your hand.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I can only imagine the political maneuvering
Oh, yeah.
must have gone on.
Tons of it.
Were these elections held in some
Yeah.
grand hall,
Yeah.
like a medieval version of a political convention?
They were called imperial diets,
Imperial diets.
and they were gatherings of the electors,
Okay.
other nobles and representatives from
Respect.
various cities and territories.
Wow. So a pretty big event.
Yeah.
While there was certainly ceremony and pageantry involved.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of the real action
Yeah.
happened behind closed doors.
So it sounds like the Holy Roman Empire was a lot more complicated
Oh,
than
yeah.
just one emperor ruling over everyone.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a decentralized system
Okay.
with power distributed among the emperor, the electors, and various other nobles and institutions.
But if the emperor's power was limited,
Yeah.
what kept these electors and other nobles from just breaking away and doing their own thing? What was the glue that held this fragmented empire together?
That's a key question.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of what made the
Yeah.
Holy Roman Empire so unique.
Okay.
It wasn't a traditional empire in the
No.
sense of having a strong central authority
Right.
that controlled everything.
Okay.
Instead, it relied on a complex web of relationships,
Okay.
shared traditions,
Mm-hmm.
and a common identity rooted in both
Okay.
the legacy of Rome and the Christian faith.
So even though these different territories and rulers
Yeah.
had their own interests and ambitions,
Right.
they still saw some value
Mm-hmm.
in being part of this larger entity.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that value came from a number of sources.
Oh, yeah.
There were practical benefits,
Okay, like what?
such as trade agreements and mutual defense pacts.
So there's like strength in numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There was also a sense of shared history and culture,
Okay.
a feeling of belonging to something
Got it.
greater than themselves.
And of course, the religious element
Right,
played a significant role.
for sure.
The idea of a united Christendom
Yeah.
with the emperor as its protector
Mm-hmm.
was a powerful force that helped to hold the empire together,
At least in theory.
at least in theory.
Yeah.
But in reality, it sounds like there was still a lot of internal conflict
Right.
and power struggles.
That's true.
Yeah.
The history of the Holy Roman Empire is full of wars, rebellions,
Wow.
and political intrigue.
So not exactly a peaceful utopia.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Emperors clashed with the electors.
Okay.
The electors fought among themselves,
Got it.
and various factions within the empire
Mm-hmm.
constantly vied for power and influence.
So even with this shared identity
Right.
and these common interests, the
Yeah.
empire was still a very
Yeah.
volatile place.
It was.
It almost sounds like organized chaos at times.
That's a fair assessment.
Okay.
The Holy Roman Empire was constantly in flux.
Yeah.
Its borders shifting, its power dynamics changing.
It's not really an empire
Wow.
in the traditional sense.
Right. And
Yeah.
its very survival often in question.
So it's really a testament to this complex system.
It is, however flawed,
Yeah.
that it managed to endure for centuries.
And it's important to remember that
Yeah.
despite its internal divisions and contradictions,
right.
the Holy Roman Empire played a significant role
For sure.
in shaping European history.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It fostered trade and cultural exchange.
Mm-hmm.
It provided a framework for political interaction.
Got it.
And it helped to define the religious and cultural landscape of
Yeah.
Central Europe for centuries.
It's amazing how such a fragmented
Right.
and often chaotic entity could have such a
Yeah.
lasting impact. But I'm guessing this story of the Holy Roman Empire doesn't have a happy ending.
Oh, well.
We talked earlier about Napoleon
Yeah.
and his rise to power.
Right.
Did he have something to do
He did.
with the empire's eventual demise?
Yeah.
So before we went to the last section, we were talking about how the Holy Roman Empire ultimately couldn't withstand the changes sweeping across Europe.
Yeah. It was really a time of upheaval and transformation.
It makes you wonder, what was the final straw?
Well, as you hinted, Napoleon Bonaparte played a crucial role in the empire's downfall.
Napoleon.
Yeah.
Okay.
His rise to power in France
Right.
marked a turning point in European history.
I mean, Napoleon was all about consolidating power
Oh, yeah.
and building a new French empire.
Exactly.
So I imagine he saw this sprawling,
Right.
decentralized Holy Roman Empire
Yeah.
as both a threat and an opportunity.
Absolutely a threat to his own ambitions
Yeah.
and an opportunity to expand his influence.
Right.
And he wasn't shy about using military force to achieve his goals.
The Battle of Austerlitz in 1805
Yeah.
was a decisive victory for Napoleon
A major turning point.
against the combined forces of the Holy Roman Empire and Russia.
Yeah, it was a clash of titans.
And sounds like it.
Yeah, Napoleon versus the old guard of Europe.
Was this battle the final nail in the coffin for the Holy Roman Empire?
It was the decisive blow.
Oh.
Following his victory at Austerlitz, Napoleon exerted immense pressure on Emperor Francis II, forcing him to dissolve the Holy Roman Empire in 1806.
Wow. So that's it.
That's the end.
The end of an era.
The end of an empire.
It's almost ironic that an empire that claimed lineage from the Roman Caesars
Right.
was ultimately brought down by
Yeah.
someone styling himself as a new emperor.
Definitely a historical parallel there.
But while Napoleon's victory marked the end of the Holy Roman Empire,
Mm,
its legacy continued to influence
right.
European politics and culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes me think back to something we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Charlemagne's name, Charles.
Right.
Becoming the root word for king in several languages.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example.
That's a powerful example of
Uh-huh.
how, even in design, the Holy Roman Empire had lasting cultural influence.
It really does.
Yeah.
It speaks to the complex ways in which empires leave their mark.
Yeah.
It's not always about brute force or territorial control.
Right.
Sometimes it's about subtle cultural influences that
Okay.
endure long after political structures have crumbled.
I see.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Holy Roman Empire,
Okay.
what are some key takeaways?
Well, I think first and foremost,
Yeah.
it challenges our preconceived notions of
Okay.
what an empire is.
In what way?
Well, it was neither a centralized bureaucratic state
Okay.
like ancient Rome,
Got it.
nor a colonial power like the British Empire.
Right.
It was something unique, a
Sure.
hybrid entity.
Neither hold nor Roman nor an empire.
Exactly.
But despite that, or maybe because of it,
Right.
it held a powerful sway over the imagination of Europe for centuries.
For a very long time.
And I think that's another key takeaway,
Yeah.
the power of ideas and symbols.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Holy Roman Empire was built on a foundation
Mhm.
of shared beliefs, traditions, and aspirations,
Right.
even if the reality on the ground was often
Yeah.
messy and conflicted.
Well, that's history for you, right?
That's history.
Yeah.
This deep dive has really highlighted how much history is about interpretation,
It is.
understanding perspectives,
Yeah.
and grappling with the complexities of the past.
Absolutely.
There's no easy answer to what was the Holy Roman Empire.
No, that's what makes it so fascinating.
It invites us to think critically,
For sure.
to challenge assumptions,
Yeah,
and to appreciate the nuances of history.
absolutely.
So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into the intriguing world of the Holy Roman Empire.
It is a fascinating one.
It's a reminder that history is full of surprises, contradictions,
Yeah.
and enduring legacies
Yes.
that continue to shape our world today. Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.
See you then.